Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Monday, February 14th, 2022. Oh, yeah, Valentine's Day. And today's commentary is the close on the Ukraine situation for you Americans and humans. Well, let me explain something that the teachers in your school and your government has never explained to you guys, Americans, and for you humans on the planet, why Ukraine is such a touchy subject, okay? There's two items that go into this. Number one, the Crimean War, 1853 to 56. Russia suffered a humiliating defeat. And to a certain extent, they lost the Crimean War, they lost Crimea, which is Russian sacred territory. Not the Ukraine, but the Crimea. Okay? Think Ukraine and Crimea are not the same. Unlike what President Biden was trying to push, President Obama was trying to push, okay? There's a separation between the Ukrainians and Crimea. And when Russia suffered a humiliating defeat in 1856 by an alliance of the British, the French, the Ottoman Empire, and the Kingdom of Sardinia. Yeah, the Italian. Yoo-hoo, Italian. Yoo-hoo, Sardinia. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And all this was supposed to be because of the Christians being not treated very well in the Holy Land. Now, that's just kind of weird. You're having a war with Russia over Christians in the Holy Land, and then you got the Ottoman Empire as your ally. See what I mean about this war? It was crazy. And it irked the Russians. It got in their gut and in their crow. And up until 2014, it was sitting in their gut, especially Vladimir Putin's. Oh, yeah, okay. Now, they did get the Crimea back. And by 1917, the Russian czars were deposed. The Bolsheviks on both the Russian and the Ukrainian side fought wars against the nationalists and won. So when the Soviet Union was established in 1922, the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, Ukraine SSR, was a founding member of the Soviet Union. And I can't deny that. It was a founding member of the Soviet Union. Okay? Yo-ho, you getting this, Americans? Okay. Then, there was an awful period because remember, Lenin was Lenin and he died in 1924. And then Joseph Stalin, ooh, remember Stalin? Well, he called the purges of the 1930s, the Ukrainians war. There was a huge phantom in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Also, a lot of people killed. Around 8 to 10 million Russians died because of phantom and other things and the purge of the 1930s. And 4 to 5 million of those were Ukrainians. Yoo-hoo! Okay? You understand what I mean, Americans? Yo-ho! Okay. Now, the Ukrainians were fighting both the Soviets and the Germans between 41 and 45. Yoo-hoo! And they were occupied by the German army, the Wehrmacht, from 41 to 44. You getting this, Americans? Yoo-hoo! Okay. In 1945, the Soviet Union reclaimed the territory of Ukraine, and it became again the Ukraine SSR. 1953, Joseph Stalin kicked the bucket. Yeah, he did. Okay. In 1954, uh, there was a powerful guy, Nikita Khrushchev, who in 1958 became the leader of the Communist Party and subsequent Russian leader. 1962 missile crisis, Khrushchev, yoo-hoo! Americans, get your watermelons off your brains here, yoo-hoo! Okay. But in 1954, Khrushchev was a powerful guy in the Ukrainian SSR Communist Party. And he instigated the transfer of the Crimea from Russia to Ukraine SSR in 1954. Now, mind you, Russia already had the crawl in their backs about the British, the French, and the Ottoman Empire and Sardinia, causing them to admit a humiliating defeat in 1956 in the Crimean War. Yo-ho! You get this, Americans? This is watermelons off your brains here, okay? So when they got transferred because of the help of Nikita Khrushchev in 1954 to the Ukrainian SSR, that irked the Russians. Specifically, at the time, a young kid named Vladimir Putin. Yoo-hoo! Yeah, okay, you getting my drift here, Americans? Okay. So Nikita Khrushchev, because of what he did, got rewarded and became the party chief of the whole entire Soviet Union in 1958 until he was deposed in 1964 by the big guys, Brezhnev, Gromyko, and Nikolai Pokorny. Don't forget him, huh? You guys want to refer to it as Leonid Brezhnev, but it was really three guys. The three leaders, they were called. And remember, Nikolai Pokorny became the de facto president of the Soviet Union. And Brezhnev became the party chief. And Andrei Gromyko, he became the foreign secretary, for a long time. Nikita Khrushchev went into exile in 1964 to his villa in the Crimea. And he passed away in 1971. Yoo-hoo! But there was still that irk on the Soviet Union as far as the Russians were concerned, and a certain Vladimir Putin about the transfer of the Crimea to Russia, from Russia to the Ukraine in 1954. It took him, 60 years to get it done, but hey, the 2014, he got his Crimea back, and the Americans, that belongs to Russia. It always has been, always will be Russian Crimea. You British know you fought a stupid war over this. And you Americans should know that Ukraine has always been a puppet of one thing or another, mainly the Russians. It's always been under Russian rule, but it was also under Polish and Lithuanian rule, under the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, yoo-hoo, back in the 1600s. Okay? Do the Ukrainians deserve independence? Well, they have shown no interest in independence. Look at the Ukrainians. I mean, they are fighting each other. There's Ukrainians that want to be part of Russia because that's all they know. Russia, Mother Russia, Mother Russia. And there's Ukrainians that want to be Ukrainians because everybody else tells them they should be independent. But they never got the soul of the Ukrainians back. They lost that back 500 years ago. At one time, Ukraine, Kiev was a powerful country at one time. And it was under Kiev, okay? But it didn't last long. But those are time way back and long ago. So for you Americans to get involved in the situation with Ukraine, Ukraine really belongs to Russia, whether they like it or not. It's like the issue that you have here, Americans, with the UP in Michigan. Yoo-hoo! Yeah, Michiganders, and especially you Yoopers, as you call yourself, Yoopers in Michigan. Let me give you an example of what almost happened the same way as Ukraine here. In 1783, the United States got the Northwest Territories, okay, ceded by the British when they lost the American Revolution. Yes, well, and along with this, you started forming territories and countries on this. Okay, 1803, oh-hee-ho, yeah. 1816, Indiana, and then you had the Michigan Territory, which included Michigan and Wisconsin. Yeah. Well, remember, Michigan became a state in 1837, yoo-hoo, oh-hee-ho in 1803. So why the difference between that? Well, what they don't tell you in school, Americans, is there was a little war fought by Michiganders and oh-hee-ho around Toledo, Ohio, and the little skirmish developed there, and they fought a war which nobody knows about, but it was there anyway in 1834, 35, 36. The War of Toledo, yoo-hoo! Yeah, okay. And Michigan controlled the Wisconsin, the territory of Wisconsin. So although Wisconsin cannot claim the UP, but it actually was a Wisconsin territory, because Michigan only went to the Lower Peninsula. Yoo-hoo, Michigan! Yeah, you remember that? But you had control of the Wisconsin territory. So when you became independent after the settlement of your little war with Ohio, or as we call it, oh-hee-ho, in 1836, you claimed the UP. The Upers, on the other hand, don't claim you. The Upers have always been and always want to be the 51st state in the United States. And that's something similar to Ukraine and Russia. But Wisconsin has no claim on the UP. But it used to be part of their territory. Shame, a shame, a shame, but they have no clear claim for it. Yee! See what I mean? Russia has clear claim to the Ukraine and especially the Crimea, because it was their territory. See what I mean, Americans? You got to understand something that you don't get involved with is internal affairs of other countries. And to establish Ukraine of that, to be independent, well, the Ukrainians haven't had much independence. In 30 years, since 1992, boy, they've been a disaster. Unlike Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, which had some brief independence between 1918 and 40. Yeah. And again, from 1992 to now, and they've controlled their nations better, and they are more fit to be part of the United Nations, part of the un-Russian portion than the Ukraine. This is your favorite alien. In commentary today, the Ukrainian mess. Good day.